Hey everybody, this is Marnie of the womenspeakers.com, back with another Facebook Live. And our guest today is Donna Jones, one of our favorite featured speakers at womenspeakers.com. And try number 2 is the charm here. Actually, I think this might be like 3 or 4 because we tried multiple things.
I think you're right.
But it's so fun to have you here and just to be able to share your speaking availability with people and to let them know that you are an awesome speaker. Orange County, Florida, right? Is home for you?
Orange County, California.
California. I said Florida, but I meant California. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And excited to learn a little bit about what's behind some of these aha moments that God has shared with you over the years. And all of us have them, just this moment where the light bulb goes on and we're like, oh, I get it now. And
Yeah.
one of the ones I was thinking of just now was it always bothered me that the Bible said that, without God, you can't love. You can't truly love. Because I would see people who were truly loving, who really had no faith or hope in Christ at all. But yet they took care of their handicapped child or they invested greatly into different things. And that always bothered me until the day that I realized that there were 4 different words for love, And when I recognized that verse that says you can't truly love without God says you can't truly agape without God. You can't truly love with God's love without God. Which all of a sudden, all of that became crystal clear to me. And that was such a big moment for me. And I've kind of never looked back on that. It's just been like, right, if I don't understand something in the Bible, it's because I haven't had my aha yet. And it's coming.
Yeah, that's so good. That's so good.
Yeah, but you've got some great ones here. And I just want to dive right in and get going with the first one is expectation without communication leads to frustration. So
Yeah.
true.
Okay. This one quote, my husband and I have probably repeated this to each other about 1,000 times. And it came out of the funniest story when we were first married decades ago. And we had one of those moments where we had this little routine. We ended our night every night with, we worked really long hours that first year. We'd come home late at night, we'd get our jammies on, we'd turn the TV on, we'd watch about 10 minutes, then we'd go into the kitchen and we'd get ourselves a bowl of vanilla ice cream. And so one night, we got our jammies on, we are watching TV, my husband goes into the kitchen, he brings back one bowl of vanilla ice cream. Oh. And for whatever reason, I don't know if I was just really tired or I was just, an idiot. I don't know why, but it just made me really mad. And so I said, where's my bowl of ice cream? And so innocently, he's eating his ice cream and he says, well, what do you mean? And I said, honey, we do this every night. How could you not know I would want a bowl of ice cream? And he says, well, Donna, how would I know you want a bowl of ice cream unless you told me you want a bowl of ice cream? So I go stomping into the kitchen and I'm just, jerking open the freezer and pulling out the silverware drawers. And I'm thinking, I have buried the most insensitive man. And he decides he's going to take out the garbage at that exact moment. So he goes marching off to take out the garbage. It was summertime. Our windows are open. You had to pass the kitchen window to take out the garbage. So he passes the kitchen window. I see him. I'm putting my ice cream in. He comes back. He puts his face right up to the screen of our window and he looks at me and he says, expectation without communication leads to frustration. And I laughed so hard because it's so true. So it kind of became a mantra in our marriage, and it's something that I've taught for years and years. So that's where that one came.
It sounds like you figured that out sooner than me. I remember after a third child was born, and I'd been able to juggle the 2 kids pretty well. And then the third child was born, and it was Sunday morning. We were getting ready to go, and we went early. We went early and did Sunday school and church and the whole day, thing. And I'm trying to get this third baby ready to go. And Dave's on the couch reading his magazine like he always is on Sunday mornings. And I come around the corner into the living room, and I'm like, I could use a little help here. And he put his magazine down, and he goes, all you had to do was ask.
Exactly.
I was like, oh. How
Exactly.
can I be 3 children in and I'm not asked?
That's right. We
You know,
usually
there's such,
communicate, but we
yeah,
communicate too late, and it's with a
so,
lot of frustration.
you know, and the difference between men and women too, you know, where guys, you need to tell them, whereas women are very intuitive. And we, you know, I remember years ago, I said one of the, probably the thing that always disappoints me the most about my husband is that he's not one of my girlfriends. But then in the end, that's a really good thing.
That's
But in the moment, in the moment, I get frustrated because he doesn't behave like a girl. Okay, number 2. I feel the way I feel because I think the way I think.
yeah. Oh, wow. This one, I'm telling you, you can go to the bank on this one.
Yeah, for sure.
Feel the way I feel because I think the way I think. And the Bible is so clear. As a man thinks in his heart, so is he. As a woman thinks in her heart, so is she. And this one came about, actually, I was lying in bed one night and my mind was just, to be honest with you, spinning with worry. And I was laying there and, I tried praying but my prayers weren't really prayers of release. They were prayers of rehearsal. So in other words, I was just rehearsing my problems to God in my mind instead of really praying and trusting and releasing my problems to God. And I realized I'm feeling the way I'm feeling because I'm thinking the way I'm thinking. And honestly, Marnie, this Bible verse, I'm just laying there in the dark, and this Bible verse comes to my mind from Romans that says, the mindset on the flesh is death, but the mindset on the spirit is life and peace. And I'm laying there in the dark, and all of a sudden I just realized there's these 2 paths. The mindset on the flesh is death, but the mindset on the spirit is life and peace. And I realized I can tell like that where my mind is, if it's on the flesh or on the spirit, depending upon the outcome. Am I experiencing death? In my thoughts and with worry and negativity and anxiety and being critical or anything or am I experiencing life and peace? And if I trace it back, it's all what is going on in my mind. So I feel the way I feel because I think the way I think. So sometimes it's so easy to we try to manage our emotions without managing our thoughts. And that's impossible.
Well, and I like that thought about the rehearsal too. That's really cool. I like that, how you said that. It's very nice. It's very kind.
Yeah.
Because really, a lot of times what we're doing is we're just really complaining to God. That's kind of really what we're doing instead of really releasing, like you said. But you have to, that takes a lot of faith to actually release it to God, to actually give it to Him. And it feels impossible in the moment. I was just talking to somebody about this morning, where you get in this train of thought and it's like a merry-go-round. And when it first started, maybe you could get off, but now it's just spinning, and you're scared to let go because it feels really terrifying to let it go. You don't know what's going to come instead of it, if you let it go. But that's really what God's always calling us to do, is to release that to Him and then let Him fill that space with something better, with a gift from Him. It's so true what you said, though, too, that you can tell whether the thoughts are from God or not from God, depending on how your spirit feels. Are you dying? Is it crushing you? Or is it bringing you life? Yeah.
Exactly.
I love that. I love that. Next one, think about what you think about.
Yeah. And this dovetails with what we were just talking about, because in Philippians 4, it talks about, whatever is true, whatever is right, whatever is noble, whatever is excellent. If there is anything, praiseworthy, let your mind think about these things. And so here's the thing. I think, we think about whatever, right? Whatever. We think about whatever's on the radio right now, or whatever is on social media, or whatever is the next thing. But there's a God's whatever. And His whatever is whatever's true, right, noble, excellent. I had to get to the place where I asked myself, do I think about what I think about, or do I just think? Yep. And then I wonder, again, why I'm feeling the way I'm feeling.
Right.
It's because I'm not thinking about what I'm thinking about. So when I became conscious, or I should be honest with you, Marnie, and say when I am being conscious, because I don't
Right.
have this down yet.
Right.
Anybody else? I'm just,
Yep.
a Christ follower trying to follow as best I can.
Absolutely.
But when I think about what I think about, it makes all the difference in the world. I mean, it transforms me. It makes me grateful and thankful and appreciative and accepting and loving and faith-filled, and it just, gosh, it's revolutionary. It really is.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, and the reason why don't we do it more is because we're actually, since we were tiny, are in the habit of doing it ourselves.
yeah,
That's what we grew up doing. We grew up doing it without God. And so we have millions, literally millions of experiences that we did without running to God. And so
yeah,
it takes conscious effort and continual work to focus our thoughts on Christ. I mean, I always say my full-time job is choosing joy. That's my full-time job. And then I have all this other stuff I do.
yeah. That's so awesome.
But the mind automatically reverts to, I can fix it myself. I should do it myself. It's all about me. I mean, all those thoughts a 2-year-old has, those are deeply ingrained in us since we were tiny.
Yeah,
So
and you know what? In our house, and I'm kind of digging the fact that we're having this Facebook Live, and I'm sitting in my kitchen because I feel like so much of my aha moments happen in my kitchen. But one of the things that we say at our house is that it's so easy to get on a spiral. Like we just, we think about one thing and then we think about it again and again and again and again. And it's like we never spiral up to happy land. Like a woman just doesn't spiral. She just doesn't. We just don't spiral up to.
Is that right?
we go down. So that's why we got to think about what we think about.
For sure. For sure. No, it's so important. And I love the quotes. I feel the way I feel because I think the way I feel. I think about what you think about. And then we're just going to shift gears just a little bit to go into the next one. Yeah. My job isn't to produce fruit for Christ. My job is to abide in Christ, and he promises to produce his fruit in me. I love this reality.
I do too, Marnie.
So important.
I would have to say my go-to chapter in the Bible is John chapter 15. It is, honestly, I camp in this so much. I live in this so much. To me, this was the most freeing truth because I became a Christian as a child. And so, I was always kind of raised, be a good girl and do the right thing, which is awesome, by the way. But the downside to that is that I subtly began to believe that producing fruit for Christ was my responsibility. Right. And so the fruits of the Spirit are love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control. So I found myself a Christian. So I need to be loving. I'm a good Christian, so I need to be a patient mom. How come I'm not a patient mom? I'm a Christian, so I need to have self-control, and on and on. And I just wore myself out trying to produce this fruit. And when I went back and looked at what Jesus himself said, is that my job is not to produce the fruit. That's Jesus's job.
You're right.
My job is to abide in Jesus. And that word means stay connected, remain in Jesus. Right. And if I, like a branch, stays connected to the vine, if I just stay connected to Jesus, then he produces the fruit in me. It's like, an orange tree doesn't have to, gut out an orange. I mean, it just produces an orange because that's what it is. And in the same way, when we as Christ followers just stay connected to Jesus, and the key is staying connected to Jesus, because the minute we're believers, we are connected, but sometimes we start to function like we're not. Right. And then that's when we start struggling in our Christian life. Absolutely. And so, gosh, it's just like, I just really come back to that over and over and over again. So that's how it's about.
It is such a huge difference from thinking that we're supposed to be the producers.
Mm-hmm.
We're supposed to be the bearers, the fruit bearers. The fruit hangs off of our life, ready to be plucked away by whoever needs it right then. Love, joy, peace, whatever. But we're not
Yes.
supposed to keep, and
Yeah.
the thing I constantly say to God is, I'm out of patience, or I'm out of love, or I'm out of something for this person right now, but you've got plenty. So just flow some through me. I mean, it's just amazing opportunity we have to not have to produce it ourselves.
Yeah.
And it is depressing. It's depressing as a Christian to look at your life and think, I don't have it. I can't come up with it. I got nothing. I've got
Exactly.
worse than nothing. I've actually got something nasty for you right now.
Yeah.
But then this great hope and confidence and the reality that because we are connected to the vine, at any time we need it, he can pour it through us. I mean, it's
Yeah.
just so beautiful. It's so
Gosh,
freeing.
that's it. It's
Yeah.
so free. And I am, and actually kind of the genesis for me even kind of camping in this came about because one Christmas season, this was many years ago, I just felt completely overwhelmed and completely just like, I don't know. I just feel like the Christian life, I'd hear all these messages about how the Christian life was supposed to
Right.
be. And in my heart, it was like, how come this
Not
isn't
happening.
how come I'm
Right.
struggling so much? How come this seems so hard? And I actually ended up in my bedroom in this rocking chair, and I had my Bible open, and I was just praying to the Lord. And I found myself saying over and over to the Lord, I just can't do this. I just can't do this. Lord, I just can't do this.
Right.
And a few times in my life, Marnie, I have felt like the Holy Spirit just,
Yeah.
I could just hear his sweet voice. And he just said to me, sweet girl, I know you can't, but I can. And
Right.
that's the point. You can't, but I can. And it was like, it's so simple. Those aha moments usually are so simple.
They are.
But when you finally grasp a hold of that and it becomes your reality, the way you live and function,
Right.
I'm telling you, it's a game changer.
Yeah, absolutely. And this one is just so pivotal that, and I think I've always said this, if we were to sit down with most preachers or Christian women speakers or teachers or anybody, they would agree with us that it's God doing it through us.
Mm-hmm.
But it is not something that we hear from the pulpit or from the platform very often.
Yeah.
Mostly we're hearing about what we should do or, whatever. And
Mm-hmm.
it's so much about stepping down and letting God do it. I mean, it's just so much about that. And there's so much joy and freedom in
Yeah.
that. Love it. Okay, on to the next one. My focus determines my future. Love that.
Yeah. Well, gosh, this really came about because I was studying, the Bible, and I just was struck with how much the Bible just said, fix your eyes on me. Jesus is like, fix your eyes on me, keep your eyes fixed on Jesus, the author and perfecter of our faith. And it's so easy, especially as women. I don't know about you, but I'm a multitasker. Are you a multitasker?
Absolutely.
Like insane. So it's really easy for me to get distracted as a multitasker because I think most women are, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
We've got
absolutely.
kids, families and jobs and house, apartments and studies. And yeah. So it's really easy for us to, get distracted. But, the Bible just says, okay, keep your eyes fixed on Jesus, let him be your focus. And we went on this little family vacation up to a lake here in Southern California, and a family had built a home up by the lake, and they said, hey, you guys, why don't you go up and just, take a week and enjoy our home, and you can use the toys that are there. And we said, free is always great. So yes, of course, it's free. We'll do it. So they had kayaks. And so our family took kayaks out. They had 2 kayaks. And my son and daughter, they get in the kayak, and it's just so pristine and so beautiful. My husband says, hey, I want to try it. My husband gets in the kayak. He flips his kayak, and he was just a disaster. So he stopped. My youngest daughter then decides she wants to kayak only I'm not putting her with my husband because she would drown. So I put her with her brother, and she was only 6 years old. He was 13 at the time. So she gets in. She's just seen what's happened with her dad. And so she holds on to him, her brother, so tightly, he couldn't breathe practically. But he was so sweet. He didn't say a word to her. He just let her hold on tight. So I watched as they kind of made their way around the lake, and I noticed that she started to get comfortable, and she released her death grip on her brother, and she put her hands then down in the sides, and she started looking outside the boat, and it was just beautiful. But then I noticed that she looked at the lake, and then she took her finger and she dipped it in the lake. And it must have been cold because she brought her finger up. It felt good. So she dipped it in again, only she leaned sideways. And when she did, the boat flipped over. The kayak flipped over.
Yep.
Well, my 13-year-old and my 6-year-old are in the middle of this lake. I mean, in the middle. And I'm standing on the shore completely dressed. And I hear my 6-year-old scream to the top of her lungs, I'm drowning, I'm going to die. And I'm thinking, how is my 13-year-old going to handle his 6-year-old little sister who's literally going crazy? He swims over to her and he says, Ashton, look at my face. And she says, no, I can't, I'm drowning. He goes, Ashton, look at my face. I'm going to pick you up. I'm going to get you back in the boat. I'm going to get you safely back to shore. No, don't, Ashton. Look at my face. I'm going to pick you up. I'm going to put you back in the boat. I'm going to get you safely back to shore. Well, finally, she relented, and he just very gently picked her up. He put her back in the boat. He climbed in himself, and he just paddled them back to the shore. Well, a few days later, I was reading my Bible just about keeping our eyes fixed on Jesus, and this other passage about how we're to hold fast, love the Lord your God, walk in all his ways, and hold fast to him. And I was like, that's it. That's such a beautiful picture about how we are to live our lives, just holding on so tightly to Christ, focusing on him when our life does go tipsy-turvy, realizing he's saying to us, okay, sweet girl, you just look at my face. I'll pick you up. I'll put you back in the boat. I'm going to get you someplace safe. So that's where that aha moment came in, because it really does. Our focus determines our future. It really does.
Absolutely love that story. And I'm hearing background that's coming through on your side.
I'm sorry, what?
It sounds like I'm saying things double. Can you hear double?
Oh, you know what? Every once in a while, but I'm okay. I think, okay. Yeah.
Great. Well, we are practically out of time here. I do want to, do you have a life verse or a theme verse for life that you would want to share? Maybe a favorite one?
Well, I mentioned that John 15, yes, I do. And actually it's John 15:16, and which where Jesus says, and to me, this applies to you, Marnie, and me, and every one of the people that are listening right now to us live or will listen to this. And it's where Jesus says, you didn't choose me. I chose you to go and bear fruit that would last. And that is what Jesus, he wants us to know, that he chose us, and he chose us for a purpose, that we would go and bear fruit and that our fruit would last. That's my verse.
I love that. We just can't possibly outlove him. He's just there busy loving us and flowing his life and love through us. Thank you, Donna. Thanks for your life and for your ministry as a Christian women speaker. You guys, if you want more information about Donna, you can check out our Facebook page. Of course, that's in the comments there, as well as over at womenspeakers.com. Or what's the best website address for you, Donna?
It's donnajones.org. And you'll find there's lots of free resources there. There's free Bible studies that I've written, my books, my blog, all of that is at donnajones.org.
Awesome. Well, thank you, my dear. And thanks you guys for being with us. Have a wonderful day. See you next time.
Thank you. Bye, Marnie.